We all know about how talented these Golden State Warriors are, with their assortment of scorers, all-stars, and Hall of Fame caliber players while playing fast, up-tempo, and even with smaller lineups. Golden State's success has been well recognized and respected. What's not well remembered is how talented these Golden State Warriors were, with their assortment of scorers, all-stars, and Hall of Famers, while also playing fast, up-tempo, and with smaller lineups. However, not much success has been recognized nor respected for these Golden State Warriors. 90 Sports Nostalgia presents the Golden State Warriors in the 1990s. And don't forget to kindly subscribe, give us a like, share, and check out more 90 Sports Nostalgia material, and make sure to check out the links below for some Golden State Warriors apparel and other basketball merchandise. Now, to put it simply, the Golden State Warriors in the 90s were far from being boring or pedestrian. To tell the story of these Warriors, let's begin with Golden State's successful draft selections during the mid and late 80s. During this period, the Warriors were remarkably able to select dynamic perimeter players like Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, and Sarunas Marciulionis, despite not drafting near the top. The Warriors certainly hit with these four selections. Don Nelson, who was responsible for drafting three of these players, would start off as a Warriors front office executive in 1987, then become the GM and head coach of the NBA team in the Bay Area in 1988. The former Milwaukee Bucks head coach had success in the Brew City, winning 7 straight division titles and making 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances. Nelson coached a style labeled as Nelly Ball. In short, this trailblazing way of basketball was fast, run and gun, while using smaller and more athletic players to create mismatches, forcing opposing teams to adjust. Currently, several teams in the NBA and in college are using similar tactics. During Nelson's playing days as a Boston Celtic, scrimmages would occur during practices in which the bigs would go against the smalls. As a result, these battles and mismatches would influence Nelson's basketball style and philosophy. After Nelson successfully drafted guard Sarunas Marciulionis, shooting guard Mitch Richmond, and point guard Tim Hardaway, the Warriors seemingly found the perfect players for Nelson's system to go along with Chris Mullin. In fact, the 1989-1990 NBA season was the first season Mullin, Richmond, and Hardaway all played together. A contest was held to give a nickname to this prolific trio. The winner was Run TMC, which is based off the hip-hop group Run DMC. The Warriors led the NBA in scoring during the 89-90 season, but did not make the playoffs. On the plus side, Chris Mullin improved his ability to score and his three-point shooting. Second-year guard Mitch Richmond was establishing himself as one of the best shooting guards. Rookie Tim Hardaway showed explosive flashes of potentially being one of the best point guards, and the Warriors were able to find out that they had something special off the bench with Sarunas Marciulionis, who was playing in his first NBA season. With the 1989-90 season in the books, a lot of excitement was surrounding the Warriors for years to come. Once again, the Warriors drafted a quality player during the 1990 draft in Tyrone Hill. More on the 6'9" Hill later on. The 1990-1991 Golden State Warriors did not disappoint. Run TMC, along with Marciulionis, scorched NBA defenses. The Warriors finished second in the NBA in terms of points per game, but that's because the Denver Nuggets hired Paul Westhead, who ran the fastest run-and-gun style ever called the system. In fact, the Warriors and Nuggets were involved in the highest scoring NBA game in regulation. Mullin and Hardaway were named All-Stars in 1991. Richmond was definitely All-Star worthy, and Marciulionis was one of the best scorers off the bench. The Warriors notched up the 7th seed in the Western Conference playoffs and upset the 2nd-seeded San Antonio Spurs 3-1. But if you watch these games, this should not go down as a huge upset, as the Warriors played like they were the better team, like they were the 2nd-seeded team. San Antonio had no answers for Mullin, Richmond, Hardaway, and Marciulionis. Unfortunately, the Warriors lost to the 3rd-seeded veteran Lakers in the conference semifinals 4-1. It was obvious where Golden State's strength was heading into the 1991-1992 NBA season. Run TMC was perhaps the most entertaining trio in the NBA, but an unexpected transaction transpired, breaking up the high-powered triumvirate. The Golden State Warriors' first game of the 91-92 campaign was on November 1st in Denver. However, on that day, Mitch Richmond, Les Jepson, and a second-round pick were traded to Sacramento for rookie forward Billy Owens, thus ending the 2-year run of Run TMC. Nelson has later regretted this trade to the Mercury News and stated, "There was pressure within our organization to get bigger after we got beat in the playoffs." But let's take a look at this trade. Coming out of Syracuse, the 6'9" Owens was highly regarded for his athleticism and his versatility. someone who could score, rebound, pass, handle the ball, and defend multiple positions. After being selected 3rd overall in the 1991 NBA draft by Sacramento, Owens did not sign with the Kings and held out. Thus, the situation probably prompted Nelson to get a player that could ideally fit his system with his size and skills. Seemingly, help on the inside was needed. Nelson liked that Owens could possibly play 3 positions: shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. Furthermore, after the trade, Nelson also said, "We believe his forte is rebounding, which obviously is our greatest need." Lastly, Nelson also said after the trade, "The decision to trade Mitch Richmond is the toughest I have ever made." It seems like pressure was evident because it was clear where the overwhelming strength of the team was. It also seems like Nelson wanted to keep Richmond despite having so much talent on the perimeter, but apparently others from within the organization wanted the team to be more balanced. Obviously, Marciulionis is not Mitch Richmond, but he is more than capable of being a productive scorer at the guard position. One more quick point about this trade. Nelson talked about the pressure to get bigger, but let's take a look at Tyrone Hill. Hill only played 16 minutes a game as a rookie, as a center and a power forward during the 90-91 season, which was his only season with Run TMC. But as Hill's minutes improved, so did his skills in terms of rebounding and defending during his 3 years in Golden State. Additionally, Hill would later go on to become an all-star, but with Cleveland, playing just like he did as a strong rebounder and defender during his 2nd and 3rd seasons with the Warriors. Then during the 1991 draft, the Warriors selected power forwards Chris Gatling and Victor Alexander. Like Hill, Gatling would also go on to be an all-star after he left Golden State. The former Old Dominion star was someone who could score from the post when he got the minutes. As for Alexander, he was basically a body who could play center and power forward at 6'9". Now during this period, and unlike today, there were few versatile forwards like Billy Owens, and if Owens signed with the Kings, Richmond probably stays because who else at the power forward position was available with Owens' skills and to Nelson's liking at the time. Moreover, Hill and Gatling over time would have proven that they were good enough to provide production on the inside and thus not have to trade one of their important perimeter pieces like Mitch Richmond for interior help. Nevertheless, during the 1991-1992 season, Owens had a pretty good rookie campaign, and the Warriors improved by 11 wins and once again led the league in scoring. As a result, the Warriors tied for the 2nd best record in the West and earned the number 3 seed in the playoffs. Chris Mullin was named to the All-NBA First Team, and Tim Hardaway was named to the All-NBA Second Team. Furthermore, Don Nelson was the Coach of the Year, and Billy Owens was named to the All-NBA Rookie Team. Unfortunately, the Warriors were upset by another up-and-coming entertaining team, the 6th-seeded Seattle Supersonics 3-1. Nelson mostly played small and athletic lineups in this series, but Mullin and Hardaway did not play up to their standards. Owens and Marciulionis played well, and Gatling was able to show he could score if he got some more minutes. But Tyrone Hill did not get a lot of playing time during this series. As mentioned earlier, the Warriors mostly went small and athletic. Entering the 1992-1993 season, the Warriors once again hit on another draft pick by selecting Latrell Sprewell 24th overall. With a hungry and talented rookie in Sprewell, All-NBAers in Tim Hardaway and Chris Mullin, a forward who can be productive in several ways in Billy Owens, one of the best scorers off the bench in Sarunas Marciulionis, a tough-to-guard power forward in Chris Gatling coming off the bench, and another power forward center in Tyrone Hill who can rebound and defend. Could this be the year the Warriors win the West? The short answer is no. In fact, the Warriors' win total dropped from 55 wins to 34 wins. The reason why? Injuries. Chris Mullin nearly missed half the season with a torn ligament in his thumb. Tim Hardaway missed 16 games with a bruised knee. Marciulionis broke his right leg and dislocated his right ankle before the season, then played 30 games, then sat out the rest of the year with Achilles tendonitis, and Billy Owens missed 45 games with a knee injury. Subsequently, the Warriors failed to make the playoffs, but were lucky for the 1993 NBA draft lottery as they were positioned to draft 3rd overall despite having the 7th worst record in the NBA. The Orlando Magic had the first selection and drafted Chris Webber. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors selected Anthony Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway, no relation to Tim Hardaway, was drawing comparisons to Magic Johnson because of Hardaway's point guard abilities with his 6'7" height. On the other hand, Chris Webber was seemingly a transcendent talent because of his ability to score around the basket and rebound with his soft hands to go along with his ball handling and passing skills despite being 6'10". And once again I have to say, it was not common to see a post player like Webber have those skills as opposed to the post players today. Orlando Magic center Shaquille O'Neal claims he was persuading management to draft Hardaway because the two played together on the set while filming the movie Blue Chips. Shaq enjoyed playing with Penny due to his ability to feed Shaq in the post. Nevertheless, O'Neal got his man as Golden State traded away Penny Hardaway and 3 future first-round picks for Chris Webber. From Golden State's standpoint, with a crowded backcourt, this trade looks quite reasonable when considering Webber's talents to fit in as a power forward/center position. Just take a look at all the talent on this roster for the upcoming 93-94 season. Golden State was loaded. This trade seemed to benefit each team, but giving up 3 future first-round picks seemed like a hefty price, considering there were GMs who thought Penny was the best player in the draft. With Tyrone Hill being traded away for a future first-round pick, it was Chris Webber's paint for the 93-94 season. The former Michigan Wolverine standout had a solid rookie season and was on course to being one of the better post players in the league. Unfortunately, Tim Hardaway and Sarunas Marciulionis were lost for the entire 93-94 season. In addition, Chris Mullin's production decreased, and this was kind of the point where Mullin and Hardaway would be on the decline. On the plus side, Sprewell's second season was a success, making the All-NBA first team as the Warriors made it back to the playoffs, but only to get swept by the defending Western Conference champions, the Phoenix Suns, in the opening round. Remember this talented list of names? That's how quickly things changed for Golden State as the dark days of Warriors basketball began as the 93-94 season ended. Marciulionis was clearly on the downside of his career and was traded to Seattle along with Byron Houston for Ricky Pierce and Carlos Rogers, but then 2 stunning trades were made. On November 2nd, 1994, the Warriors basically traded Billy Owens to the Miami Heat for Rony Seikaly. Owens had just finished his 3rd season with the Warriors and was showing no signs of having injury problems, which would come in effect later on in his career. However, Owens was not a bad player for Golden State. Probably did not play up to certain expectations, as it didn't help his cause when comparing it to Mitch Richmond's success in Sacramento. So why was a versatile forward traded? Chris Webber had a problem with playing center and wanted to play power forward. This trade for the better-than-average center Rony Seikaly would seemingly fix that problem by then moving Webber to power forward, but it didn't work out as expected. This disagreement between Webber and Nelson about playing what position, Webber not liking Nelson's motivational tactics, and Webber being unhappy and wanting to play in a bigger city, according to his friends, led to this second shocking trade. According to the LA Times, Webber had exercised an option, terminating his 15-year $74 million contract and making himself a restricted free agent. He then sat out the start of season. On November 17, 1994, as the regular season had already started, Chris Webber was traded to the Washington Bullets for Tom Gugliotta and 3 future first-round picks. What's remarkable is that Nelson had a great reputation as being a player's coach, and it only took 1 season for Webber and Nelson to strangely have tension. As for the 1994-1995 Warriors season, Chris Mullin had another injury-plagued season. Tim Hardaway had another productive season, but was only able to play 62 games and didn't seem like the old Tim Hardaway. Rony Seikaly, who was expected to be a solid player at the center position, also had injury issues, but on the plus side, Latrell Sprewell was solid once again, being named an All-Star. As for Tom Gugliotta, he was traded during the season to Minnesota, where he had his best seasons, averaging over 20 points a game a couple of seasons. And interestingly, like Tyrone Hill and Chris Gatling, Gugliotta was named an All-Star after he left Golden State. In return, the Warriors received Donyell Marshall, so essentially, and in the end, the Warriors basically traded Penny Hardaway, who became an All-NBA player before injuries forced his rapid decline, for Donyell Marshall. And lastly, Don Nelson resigned this season after 45 games, going 14-31. During Nelson's reign, the former Coach of the Year did a great job drafting and assembling talent, but only 2 playoff series wins to show for it. But maybe the 1995-1996 Golden State Warriors season wouldn't seem so horrible as the Dubs won the draft lottery. Maryland Terrapin center Joe Smith was a dominant force in the ACC, offensively and defensively. Smith had the body and the skills, as many thought he'd be the obvious choice to be selected first overall, in which he was in the 1995 NBA draft. Let's quickly take a look at the other power forwards in this draft. Antonio McDyess was more athletic than Smith, wound up being named an All-Star and was a very good scorer early on in his career, but didn't have any extra baggage entering the draft. If Warriors fans are disappointed by not drafting McDyess, who did have injuries later on, I understand. As for the other power forwards, Rasheed Wallace had attitude problems coming out of college, and although it's completely a new regime, I doubt this franchise wanted to draft Wallace after what the franchise went through with Chris Webber. And as for Kevin Garnett, during the 1995 draft, high schoolers were not entering the NBA draft at this time. Garnett was like a trailblazer, being a high schooler, entering the NBA draft before players like Kobe Bryant, Jermaine O'Neal, Tracy McGrady, and LeBron James. So the great unknown of a high schooler and the Warriors feeling like they had the talent to compete while wanting someone who could play right away made it understandable not to draft Garnett. The 1995-1996 Golden State Warriors season was going to be coached by Rick Adelman. This was the starting lineup for the first game, and as you can see, talent-wise, it's not too bad. However, as aforementioned, this was the point where Mullen and Hardaway began to decline physically due to injuries. They were far from being the players they were during the Run TMC days. Consequently, Hardaway was traded in the middle of the season to Miami along with Chris Gatling for Kevin Willis and Bimbo Coles. This was a great trade for the Miami Heat. I have a lot of respect for Hardaway, as he was not the same explosive player he once was, but reinvented himself to fit Pat Riley's grinded-out defensive system. The Warriors had a 10-win improvement but missed out on the playoffs. While Don Nelson was at the helm of the Warriors, Golden State had success in the draft, but with the new regime, the Bay Area team missed on several picks, including in the 1996 loaded NBA draft when the Warriors took Todd Fuller. As for the 1996-1997 NBA season, the Warriors struggled, finished 30-52. One trade of note, Rony Seikaly was traded to the Magic. Rick Adelman was fired as head coach. PJ Carlesimo was hired to replace him. Carlesimo just led the Trailblazers to 3 playoff appearances in 3 seasons. The Warriors once again kinda missed with the first round pick in Adonal Foyle, who was never really trusted to play big minutes, but was a decent shot blocker. Chris Mullin was still on the roster until he was traded on August 12, 1997 to the Indiana Pacers. Warriors fans wanted to get back to winning. Carlesimo was the complete opposite of Adelman. According to David Steele, who was covering the NBA for the San Francisco Chronicle at the time, recalled the Warriors and their marketing campaign revolving around the former Seton Hall coach called No More Mr. Nice Guy. Carlesimo was an intense coach who would get tough on his players and possibly rub them the wrong way. These coaching methods would then lead to an unprecedented event. According to sfgate.com, here's what astonishingly occurred. Carlesimo had been getting on Latrell Sprewell's case from the moment he arrived. During a practice on December 1, 1997, Carlesimo was writing Sprewell for not making crisp passes. Subsequently, the NBA All-Star and his coach began to verbally go at it, which resulted in Sprewell forcibly putting his hands on Carlesimo and began choking him. Sprewell was ejected from practice, but later returned and assaulted Carlesimo once again before being escorted out. Originally, Sprewell was suspended 10 games, but after more information came out, the Warriors then voided his 3-year, $23.7 million contract, and the NBA announced they were suspending him for 1 year. However, after some legal action, Sprewell was then traded to the Knicks, where he became a fan favorite. Golden State finished the disastrous 1997-1998 season 19-63. Golden State did make a good selection in the 1998 NBA draft, selecting Vince Carter. However, the high flyer was then traded to Toronto for Antoine Jamison, who could score but was terrible on defense. In an NBA shortened season, the 1998-1999 Warriors improved a little, going 21-29, which was better than expected considering the talent on the roster. Golden State drafted Jeff Foster 21st overall, who was then traded for Vonteego Cummings and a 2001 first-round pick, which wound up being Troy Murphy, which was a good selection. But then the Warriors went backwards during the 99-2000 season. Carlesimo was fired after 27 games, and the Warriors would struggle for years to come with not a lot of talent on the rosters. Golden State wouldn't get back to being over 500 until the 2006-2007 season, when they made the playoffs with Don Nelson back as their head coach, while upsetting the top-seeded Dallas Mavericks in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The Golden State Warriors in the 1990s seemed like a tale of 2 different franchises. You can't deny the high amount of talent that was assembled. During the early 90s, the Warriors showcased an exciting team on the rise and drafted quite well. The 93-94 Golden State Warriors team was overflowing with talent, but unfortunate feud and injuries derailing star players made NBA fans think, what if? Furthermore, Warriors fans might still be upset over the Mitch Richmond trade, which is understandable, but the trade for Billy Owens made sense, and it seemed like if Richmond stayed, the fortunes for the Golden State Warriors would not have changed too drastically. As for the other trades, it seemed like the Golden State Warriors were trading away players who were on the decline or had to trade players due to other circumstances, which led to the Warriors probably not being able to get enough value in return, and in these cases, in the NBA, it's hard to get enough value in return. The Warriors of the 90s and the Warriors of today are somewhat similar in terms of style, talent, and their ability to draft quality players in not ideal draft slots. Yet one Warriors era only had a few playoff wins, while the other Warriors era had a few championships.